Thank you, Chair. And good afternoon, one and all. The theme of my paper, as you can see in the slide, that contours of complex interdependence in the era of globalization, the case of South Asia. In the yesterday's inaugural session, our chair has covered the South Asian regional cooperation from the context of neo-realist perspective when he was talking about bandwagoning and other balance of power equations. But when we are living in the phase of globalization, we have to understand the same thing from the perspective, neoliberal perspective. That's why in my paper I just try to discuss or to understand this regional cooperation, prospects of regional cooperation in South Asia from neoliberal perspective. And as you know that complex interdependence is one of the conceptual framework which generally neoliberals use during last 20 to 30 years. They generally use this term. And interestingly, the similar in the same 20 to 30 years, all of the South Asian countries also embarked on liberalization and globalization. So it's very interesting to see that how whether the parameters or the components which generally complex interdependence model deals is applicable in South Asia or not. So after having said these all things, I would just come to the core of paper, and I try to develop paper from 3 dimensions, and it's in form of 3 questions, and these questions are interlinked, which in the first question I'll try to understand that why South Asia is a classic case wherein the concept of complex interdependence may be applicable, whether on normative ground or ideally what is my understanding or how from this complex interdependence context, whether it's ideally it is suitable to this region or not. While answering this first question, I just believe that the South Asian region has a distinct geocultural system. I use system, it's my own word because means in this context it's my own word, although system theory and other theories are there. Just I use this word because I believe that geographically and culturally, different regions and different countries of this South Asia has interlinkages, and it gives a distinct character, like because of this region is separated from other regions of Asia by higher or loftiest mountain range. It has its own internal dynamics or its own character, like all of the country has similar climatic pattern, and it further determines other things also. Some of the scholars like Baker say that South Asian culture is a kind of culture of monsoon. So it's a monsoon determines its economy and other things. Then shared water resources, as we all know that even in the yesterday's presentation, Professor Saran Singh covered that most of the northern part is basically comes in Indo-Gangetic river basin. Apart from that, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, all these Indian continental countries, these countries share this water resources. Then in the earlier sessions also we had discussed about how communication and transportation system is interlinked. We have discussed about the issue of Bangladesh, how Bangladesh and other northeastern states communication and transportation is linked. And so also in the case of Bhutan and Nepal, it's being a landlocked country is highly dependent on India for its transportation. Then because of this distinct cultural heritage and then historical experiences, it has its own intra-regional demographic and cultural experience. So we can say that this region has diversity, but there is a unity in diversity. So this region, the first point I wanted to bring means in this context. Second point is also related to economic interdependence. As in the last slide itself, I have pointed out that monsoon determines this climatic factor which determines the region, and so the most of the countries in the region is agro-based. Secondary sector and tertiary sectors, although in India it's now started developing, for last 20 years because of technological revolution, the things have been changing. But by and large, economy is mainly dependent on agriculture, and because of also similar colonial experiences we have. Also, in this region, because of similar kind of economic pattern, there is also possibility of sharing of economic experiences. Like even India can learn from Bangladesh experiences of microfinance, and vice versa. We have different areas where we can cooperate. With also, as it's a very contesting point. In earlier sessions, we had discussed that there is a model which talks about sub-regional pattern of development, like some of the part of India with other states. I will not go into detail of those things because we have already discussed these all things in detail in the earlier sessions. But this is one of the way, like Bangladesh along with North and East India, then Pakistan with Western India, then Sri Lanka with southern states, and Nepal, Bhutan and Afghanistan being landlocked country, it has linkages with the other parts. Third point, as you all know, you all are a student, and we all are scholars related to international relations. The security complex concept is also applicable in this region, because we can see that in South Asia, nation-state security perception and concerns are so much interlinked that their national security problems cannot be reasonably analyzed or resolved in isolation. And this is all about concept of security complex, when one country or one nation-state cannot secure its region without collaboration and cooperation with other countries. It is also because of, as we all know, that emerging nature of security threats, like a number of security threats are also impacting all of the countries in the region. Then some of these security threats are transnational in nature. So, because of these all things, it can be understood as a security complex. The South Asian region can also be understood as a mini system where major concepts of IR can be applied, even those realist concepts which Sir was talking yesterday. But I'll not go in those realist and neo-realist concepts. I'll again come back to how the security concerns are interlinked. The link can be positive link, that link can be negatively linked with other countries, or it can be a kind of medium kind of link can be possible among these countries. Like when we talk about negative link, when this kind of concepts we can understand in zero-sum game interdependence, when countries are generally competing, they are not trying. There is a very less scope of cooperation. Like we can say that arms race and military technology and capabilities of different countries. This is one of the area where like Pakistan and India's security is linked, but the link is negative. It's not a positive link. Both are not going in same direction. The direction is different. Then there are certain area where we cannot say that whether it is a positive or negative links. It has certain issues like sharing of water resources, where there is a conflict on the issue of sharing, but there is still possibility of cooperation. And yesterday also we had discussed that regional security regimes. When we can have certain institutional and legal framework, it may help us to evolve a security complex or security cooperation. Apart from that, as we are discussing complex interdependence, also it is very important to understand the positive interdependence, which we can see that in rational theories we see win-win situation when all the countries, and most of the country has similar sort of problem, and countries can cooperate on those issues. Between you know that Golden Crescent and Golden Triangle, so somehow the whole region is having some implications for that geographical location. Low intensity conflicts, environmental challenges. We all know that Bangladesh, coastal area of India, and then Maldives, they have similar sort of environmental challenges. So on these issues, on local, on regional, even on the global governance level, we can have a kind of positive interdependence when we can cooperate and we can develop a kind of cooperation model. But these all 3 points what I raised is related to what should be, means it can be. But there are questions